We know human communication actually depends on us being able to see the other person, and it enables us to kind of judge and gauge what the other person is like to develop a sense of trust. But there are other ways of communicating with people, and we shouldn't just default to this position of that I have to be in the same room as the person that I'm meeting with in order for this to take place. Well, travelling across time zones, you get jet lag. A lot of people I come across, particularly senior executives, kind of say they don't experience jet lag. They do. And that affects their decision making, speed of response to things. So it has a detrimental impact in that sense. Also, in terms of well-being, relationships at work is actually critical to our well-being at work. Now, if you're spending a lot of time travelling on your own or with a small group of people, you're actually missing out on those broader relationships. And if you're travelling from office to office, you kind of got these quite superficial relationships you have with people. That will have an impact on people's long-term well-being. The best thing they can do is by letting everybody know that they take it seriously. If you just do that one thing, that well-being and our staff's well-being, everybody's well-being is important to us as a firm, that just sets the tone of it, so that people know that they can bring this up as a topic, that it's something that's considered to be important by their managers. They can utilise them really well. There's a whole range of technologies that are now available, going from the emailing people at one end of the spectrum through to phone calls, audio conferencing, web conferencing, to video conferencing at the other end of the spectrum. Each of them has their advantages and also their disadvantages. Email at that end of the spectrum is actually very good for very straightforward messages. If you try and do something more complex, then you're going to have to use some of the richer forms of communication, such as audio or web conferencing, and at the other end, actually using video conferencing, because that gives us a lot more visual information as opposed to just what people are saying. I never used to pay that much attention to the environment, to be honest. And as I've got older, I've realised actually it's something that I am partly responsible for, that my actions actually have an impact. And there are simple things that I've realised I can do which can make a difference, and actually it can save a bit of money as well and make life a bit easier for me. It's the continuation of what I've been doing to date, but also I want to use it as a means of me rethinking the whole notion of travel and what it means to me anyway. And we were talking earlier about business travel and the downsides. Actually, one of the things that people get from business travel anyway is they get a sense of status and self-esteem. It's actually something that makes people feel quite important. And so people kind of like telling your friends and neighbours, I'm flying off to New York next week, or I'm off to Paris for business. It makes us feel good. And it's kind of, if you say, well, actually, I'm going to Milton Keynes to do a video conference, it doesn't sound as exotic at all, but it's actually making people realise that you're still having an effective multinational meeting, but also you're making a terrific contribution for the environment.